Hello again, and welcome back to our Lunch and Learn session. Leading our session today, we have the wonderful Jen Artan. Jen is my colleague and a member of Ellie's publishing team. She's our Canadian language benchmarks content writer and presenter. She has represented Ellii at language teaching conferences across Canada, and now we're thrilled to have her here presenting at our conference. Jen is going to walk you through some of the ways that you can use Ellii to teach life skills. So hopefully this is going to be a really practical, interesting session. I'm looking forward to it. Jen, whenever you're ready.
Awesome. I'll just be sharing my screen. So just give me one moment for me to pull that out. I just want to get a thumbs up that you can see what you need to see. This is okay?
Yes, it's perfect. Excellent.
Okay. All right. Well, fantastic. Thank you so much, Lise. I am really excited to talk to you today to share some of the ways that Ellii is using AI, but also some of the exciting new features that Ben and Eduardo have outlined in their presentations. So in this session, I'll be taking you on a brief tour of Ellii, stopping to showcase some of our newest lessons, sections, and collections with a focus on teaching and using life skills with newcomers, and with a few creative ideas for learning and assessment along the way. Okay, so let's start first by having a look at what's new in Ellii. So here I am on the main page here at Ellii. And the one thing I did want to notice too, or to let you know, is that one of the places where you can find out what we've been doing at Ellii is to check your inboxes. You'll notice that you get regularly sent email from us that says, what's new at Ellii? Open it up, have a look, because it usually we're focusing in on some of our newest lessons. So there's one place you can find our newest areas. All right. So here I am on the main page at Ellii. The other thing I wanted to draw your attention to at the very top was that notification bell. And I apologize, you're probably not going to see my cursor in this platform. My apologies for that. But at the very top right-hand corner, beside my name, where it shows that I'm logged in, there is a notification bell. And if you open it up, it will show you everything that's new, everything that has been updated since you last logged into Ellii. So it could include your students might have submitted something, new lessons, and things like that. So that's where you can find what's new at Ellii through the bell icon. Now I can see that I'm logged in because my name is showing up there. And the other place where you can find out what's new and what's been updated is the page that you land on when you get to Ellii. This is our Discover page, and it's updated a couple times a week with new and updated content, what's happening, what's on the calendar, things that are happening for sure. In this case, we're focusing in on our discussion starters and how apropos some AI generated content. And if you scroll down, you'll notice it does feature things that are new and things that have been updated, like our Sustainable Development Goals, which is a sub-collection under, I believe it's Global Issues. And I'm going to show you some of that in a moment. I just wanted to make sure that you can see everything that's on the Discover page, and you can jump into some of these interesting sections just to see what's new. All right, so I'm going to scroll back up to the top, because one of the places where you can go to find our newest materials is in our collections. To get to the collections, all you need to do is go into our materials drop-down menu at the very top of the page and go to collections. It's the second in the menu. So you select collections, and that will take you to all the collections here at Ellii. So I'll show you around. I'm going to show you some of these collections, but the ones that focus in on the new content are under our What's New collection. And you'll notice too, I have a couple of different filtering options as well. I can filter by tile, and I can filter by list. I like the list view because you can see things just a little bit better here. Now, I can go straight into any month that I might have been absent. Maybe I'm just coming back and getting started after a summer vacation, and I want to go in and check out what's happened in June, July, August, even September has got new content in here. And I'm going to show you, I'll jump into August just to show you what we were doing in August. As you can see, here is our August content. And if you do a quick scroll, you're going to see all of those amazing new videos that our video team has been hard at work this summer producing for you. You can drill down and filter by level, by age, and by material type in the drop-down menus here. You can't see the drop-down menus, can you? No, you can't see them, but you can do that. So for example, I'm going to filter by CLB4. Now you'll notice on the screen in front of you that the level has now changed to CLB4. Now I'm coming to you from Canada, and I work within the Canadian Language Benchmark System. So that's what CLB is referring to all of our teachers outside of Canada that might not know. And again, if you are a Canadian teacher and you don't see that option, you may need to go into your settings wheel and make sure that your location and your selections have been chosen. And you can choose by age, adults, language, or adults, teens, or young learners. And you can choose by material type as well. And I'm going to hopefully show you that later on. But right now you can scroll through and you can see all the material that has been added in the month of August. You can see that there are our regularly added sections. That's news to me. There's been a few listening lessons that have been added. And of course, again, some video sections here as well. So scroll through, have a look and see what's interesting and useful for you. And that's under our That's What's New collection. Now I'm going to go back into collections because there are a few other new features inside of collections that are going to be particularly interesting and that really do focus in on those essential life skills. So I'm going to follow my breadcrumb trail and click on collections again. And again, if you can't remember how to get there, it's in your materials drop-down menu and it's collections. And if you click on that, that will take you into collections here. So you can scroll through and have a look at the different kinds of collections we have here at Ellii. In English Foundations collections, our very popular grammar collections here as well, everyday topic. Now there is a new subsection in here that we have just added over the past year, and that's clothing and fashion. So if you're talking about back to school clothing, or if you got a fashion topic that you're working with, what to wear in cold weather, what should you wear, this section has everything connected and related to clothing and fashion all organized. And this is a sub-collection that we just added this year, so you might not have seen this. But you can see here again, you can filter and drop down by level, by age, and by material type. I might just be looking for videos or just be looking for flashcard. And yeah, and again, I apologize. You can't see the drop-down menu when I'm in here, but you can filter and organize. The other part of this collection that you might be able to see is the side left-hand side menu here. I can actually go right into everyday dialogues, for example, and then further filter everything that we have in this collection that is also available in our everyday dialogues. Packing for summer vacations, going to the shoe store, and more. Okay, so that is one of our newer collections that I wanted to show you. And I'm going to go back because there's a few more collections that I want to show you before I get into some of the lessons. So if you scroll down, I'll try not to go too quickly. Everyday topics again, really, really fantastic section for working on those life skills with our students. Life skills, of course, being essential communication skills, 21st century skills, but also skills that help to develop empathy, adaptability, flexibility, creativity, critical thinking as well would be considered a life skill. Critical thinking has never been more important in the age of AI, but we'll talk about that in a moment. Global Issues Collection also includes that new collection called Sustainable Development Goals. Go in and have a look. There's some really fantastic resources in here as well. Holidays and seasons, of course, we are jumping into autumn. So there might be a bunch of, what's coming up for you. Thanksgiving is coming up in Canada next month, in a couple of weeks, actually. Of course, it's much later in the United States. Don't forget that we do have the Nations and Regions collection. It's not a new section. It's been here for a while, but just to let you know that we do have a Latin American collection, and it's found right here, as well as a European, Asia, Canadian, United States, Oceania, and Africa collection. So any of our resources and materials that are relevant and useful to those particular regions have been tagged and organized in this collection. So have a look and just to see what's in here. Of course, our academic subjects. But again, one of the newest collections that we just did this year for our Canadian LINC teachers is our LINC collection. I'm going to jump into health and safety. Now, LINC themes, again, I'm a Canadian teacher. It would be similar to our CASA's competencies if you're teaching in the States. I'm going to jump into a very common collection, health and safety, just to give you an idea of what is in here as well. Again, you can filter and drop down by level, age, and material type. You can sub-filter by going into specifically healthcare system. And I'm going to jump into healthcare practitioners just to give you an idea of what's in here. And you can see that we've got a lot of relevant, useful lessons here that are going to help your students in this particular topic or module about, healthcare. Dentist's office. Yes, not my favorite visit in the world, but of course, here you can go straight to a video and going to an eye doctor, right? Talking to a lab technician. So here are some really focused healthcare practitioner topics that could be very useful. And as a teacher, of course, you can go through, open it up, have a look at it, and determine which ones are the most useful and relevant for your learning objectives. Again, going to the doctor, going to the pharmacy, right? Going to the dentist, Dr. Kevorkian, interesting. So you've got all of these all organized together. So I just wanted to make sure that you recognize and you saw, if you haven't seen it already, that we do have this collection available for you. Okay. All right. So that's what's new in collections. I'll go into our detailed lesson in just a moment, but I'm going to go back to our main page at Ellii by clicking on the Ellii icon at the very top of the page. So let me just jump in here. At the very top of the page, I clicked on it and I'm back on our main stage. So now I want to show you our lessons section and again, show you some of the newer features and functions inside of lessons. So I'm going to drop down from materials and go directly into lessons. Okay, so lessons is opening up. We do have the option to jump into a calendar view. The calendar view gives you an overview of what's coming up. And that's a really great, if you haven't clicked on this before, open up calendar and then it will show you what's happening in September, for example, October, plan ahead for sure. This isn't a new feature. This is something, though, that some teachers don't know exists. And every place that you see an item or a resource, these are elements inside of Ellii. So, for example, Friday, today is Bermuda Triangle Mystery Published, National Hispanic Heritage Month, National Online Learning Day. So here are some things that might be directly relevant to your students and to your learning and what's coming up next week. Some interest. Ice Cream Cone Day is coming up in a couple of weeks. Maybe have a visit to an ice cream factory if you have one close by. Or in my case, maybe the ice cream truck will roll by during my presentation like it has done before. So maybe you want to make your lessons directly relevant. These are all here. So I'm just punctuation day. Wow, I didn't even know that was a day. English teachers rejoice. Sunday, September 24th is punctuation day, period. Okay, so I'm going to go back into our lessons section to give you an idea of the genre and the sections in here, especially the newer ones. Ben has already shown you some of these lessons and collections that we have inside here. Discussions and debates. One of our most popular sections as well as mini debates. I'm just going to jump in here really quickly just to show you how to see the stuff that's new. In this case, new and featured is shown at the very top. It's pinned right at the very top of the page. You'll notice that we have a high intermediate level lesson on helicopter parenting, which might be really useful if you're talking about family and family dynamics and parenting styles. That would be a very interesting conversation to have, especially at the beginning of a school year. Okay, lots of other fantastic topics in here, but again, I just wanted to show you what was new. All right, and again, you can filter by level. Oh, in this case, you can see the drop-down menu. Fantastic. You can filter by level, and you can also filter by categories. All right, so I'm just going to take you back into the lesson page. Of course, we have our grammar selection, our grammar collection, grammar practice worksheets, grammar stories, young learners and adult literacy, some really fantastic resources in here. English for newcomers. And again, my focus here today is on those life skills that we're working with, as well as our language skills. Of course, we want our students to develop cultural competency in the English language communities in which they're living. So some of these sections are really good for that. I'm going to show you real world reading. I'm going to open up this section to show you a little bit more about this section. As you can see, there is also a filtering option at the very top. Oh, sorry, just give me 1 second. Okay. You can drop down and you can choose the different CLB levels. In this case, again, I'm the Canadian language benchmark teacher, so I can choose only to see the resources that are beginning, low, or intermediate. And in this case, I can also filter by teaching order, categories, which is what you see when you first log in, or even CLB competency. So if I switch to CLB competency, again, Canadian language benchmark, it's going to organize this entire section by the competencies, like interacting with others, comprehending instructions, getting things done. So for our Canadian teachers, that's a really useful feature. But I know we're not all Canadian teachers, so let me just get back into categories so I can show you more about this section. And I'm going to just, again, outline what kind of activities you see in real world reading. Again, this section is really focused on real world reading, like receipts and bills and forms and schedules and things like that. Things, again, that our learners are going to come across in their everyday lives. You have example ATM receipts, bank statements, internet banking, transportation, house and home, household bills, bus schedules, and lots of other really fantastic real world type of readings in this case that can help build our students' understanding and competency. One of the newer lessons in here is parking. So I'm going to open that up right now just to show you what that looks like. I don't know where you're teaching, but I know here in London, Ontario, many of our adult newcomer language classes are really just getting back in gear. And sometimes our adult students really do have difficulty understanding parking here in Ontario, here in London, Ontario. They don't always understand where they can park, for how long can they park, and what happens if they get a ticket. So this is an example of a good real world reading that you might do at the beginning of a course so that you can, and get your students understanding, if they're driving, and many of our students are driving, what this actually means. So here is the landing page of this new lesson. And I really like this one because I've been there with the students at the beginning of a course and I've had to take them out into the parking lot as we walk around and look at the places where they can park, accessible parking, what that means, and more. So you'll notice at the very top of the page, there is an option now to add directly to your class. You saw this, you've seen this feature yesterday. Ben was talking about it. And if I click on that like so, it's going to give me the option to drop down to choose a class. let me just open that up, choose the class and choose where I want it to land. So I might want it in saved and recommended or prepping. Perhaps I'm going to do this right away. I can go ahead and click on prepping and then click on save. So that's where it's going to show up there. I can actually go into my classes. I won't have time to show you that today, but it's going to land in my classroom page where I can distribute to my students who are in my Ellii classes. So it's a really great feature, quick feature to get our students using the activities. The other thing I wanted to show you on this page is that this particular lesson comes with both digital and PDF tasks, which is fantastic. But the other thing, of course, is right below related materials. Don't miss this. This is a great place to find additional complementary, supplementary lessons that you might teach when you're teaching parking. For example, road signs and signals might be very apropos because these are things that our students are going to need to know. So I'll show you how this connects later on in study packs when I show you that feature as well. All right, so I'm going to jump into the PDF and I'll show you a little bit about what this looks like. You'll notice when I open it up, there's so much white space on either side. I can get rid of that white space by zooming in on the far right-hand corner and opening that up there. Now, you can use the PDFs whether you're teaching face-to-face or whether you are teaching in a virtual classroom. You can be projecting onto a screen or sharing a screen with your students. The real world readings are set up very, very simply. An example, an example, an example, and then an assessment tool that you can or you can use however you want to use it. The other feature I wanted to show you, if you look at the very top, you have options to choose a different version. I'm showing you the Canadian version. If you're not in Canada, you can choose US or UK version of this lesson. You can also print directly from the top at the very top. You can download it, and you can also share a tokenized link of the PDF with your students at the very top. The menu, you can collapse it if you want more space on your page, but that's open. Again, this is a very straightforward, very simply designed lesson. And again, starts with the vocabulary. I'm just going to scroll through and show you what you can see in here. Again, this is reading, so there's no listening activities here. I'll show you one with listening in just a moment. Parking, right? Some parking signs, an infographic on a reading activity. Of course, because there's so many different ways we can park. It can be pay and display. You can use your app, many things like that. But I'm just going to scroll back up again because I wanted to mention a creative way that you can involve the students and the technology that they already have might be to ask the students before the lesson to use their cell phones and to take a picture of parking signs in their area, in their neighborhoods, at their apartment building, near the school, and come to school with a couple parking signs to share in a group activity. It would be really interesting to see how many students show the same kind of parking signs or show different ones. All right, we'll discuss it. What do you think this means? And just to introduce the lesson in that way. And it really makes it more meaningful for the students when it's something that really impacts them. It's their picture, it's their image. So that's one way you might use their technology and their personal situations in this lesson. And I'm going to scroll down to example number 2. Again, you can do this. You'll notice there's questions. The digital task in this case looks exactly like the PDF version. There's not much difference in that. I'll show you a different digital task example in a moment. A parking citation. Okay, real world skills. How many people have ever had a parking ticket before? Raise your hand. All right. If you've ever had a parking ticket before, it's not fun. It can be especially difficult for our newcomers, right? So if they get a parking ticket, understanding what it means or why did they get this ticket. So in this case, this is a sample reading on a potential parking ticket that a student might have. So this might be useful as a real world reading for our students and getting our students to discuss it. What are parking tickets? Why are they even necessary? What would happen if we could just park anywhere we want at any time with no repercussions? I was thinking of a creative way to use this in your classroom. Maybe see if you can invite a local parking municipality officer to come in and talk to your students about parking and where you can park and not park, and how things change when the bad weather starts to come. I'm in Canada. We're going to get some snow in a couple months or sooner, who knows? So how does that work? I know here in London, Ontario, our local municipal officers, they're really looking for a way to engage with newcomers to the community. And they would welcome a chance to come in and talk to our students about parking and other city-related issues. So reach out, involve your community as much as you can. That's just one idea. All right, so this was your parking lesson. I'm going to scroll all the way to the top. I'm keeping an eye on the time because there's so much more I want to show. I'll try to keep it slow and steady. I get excited when I talk about Ellii. I really value these resources as a teacher, and I think there's so much we can do with it. So I'm just going to go back into the main page. Okay. And again, that was our real world reading section. Lots of other fantastic resources for you here as well. Okay. And I'm going to go back into lessons because I do want to show you another lesson with some digital activities that has just been added to Ellii over the past couple of months. So I'm going to scroll down and try not to go too quickly here. Here's English for newcomers. I'm going to go into everyday dialogues. And again, this is a mostly listening, speaking focused in this particular section. And this has got some fantastic opportunities to develop communication skills and empathy and listening and those kinds of skills that we want our students to know. So there's also reading and writing tasks involved in here. You can drop down. You can filter or drill down to the particular level that you're teaching. And you can also filter by category and again by CLB competency if you're in the Canadian benchmark area as well. Okay. All right. So what I wanted to show you here, you can see there's community. There's lots of activities on community, school. One lesson, this lesson's not new, but I just wanted to draw your attention to it because it's very timely. Meeting the teacher. Many of our adult learners have children in the K-12 school system, and meeting the teacher, those teacher notes, that can be very daunting for them to go in and try to talk to the teacher to understand what their children need. These are great everyday dialogues that can really encourage practice and repetition and developing not just the language skills, but the confidence that our newcomers really need to be successful in communicating their needs and their voice in their community. So this is a great lesson to do, especially at this time of year. You can see there's two versions of this one, a beginner level and a slightly higher level lesson. But again, that's not a new lesson. I'll take you into one of the newer ones because I promised to show you what was new. Shopping health. Okay, lots of really fantastic health-related items here. Canceling an appointment, going to a dental specialist, talking to a lab technician. I'm going to jump into going to an eye doctor. I'm going to open that up because it's one of our more specialist health activities. It's a fantastic resource, and it looks very similar to what I just showed you before. You can see here, I can add it to my class. I'm going to show you the digital tasks in just a moment, but there's one difference in the PDF that the other one didn't have, and this is the addition of listening activities at the very bottom. So when I open up the PDF as a teacher, you'll notice that I have the listening, the audio right there.
Good morning, Amir. I'm Dr. Patel. What can I do for you today?
Okay, so you can go to so that listening is there and you can download that to your desktop so it's ready to go when you're presenting it to your students, whether again you're face-to-face or whether or not you are in an online classroom, that audio is right there. And the other thing I wanted to show you, again, there's the dialogue, but I'm going to jump into the answer key right at the end. And again, this is just for the Canadians out there, but for the Canadians in our audience, this part of Everyday Dialogues, when you've got the Canadian version chosen, it connects the competencies in the Canadian language benchmarks that we're focusing in on. So if we're talking about interacting with others or comprehending information, all of this information is included in the teacher answer key. I just wanted to make sure that if you're in Canada, that you notice that this is here and that you know that we are developing them when we're talking about our Canadian teachers and our Canadian students. We're developing our lessons within that PBLA framework. We've got an eye on the kinds of questions we need to ask and that sort of thing. So that information is available for you here. So definitely take a look at that. So I'm going to go back into the overview because I wanted to show you some of the digital tasks really quickly. And I'm going to jump in here. You'll notice in this case, I can assign this to my students for homework, or we can do this in class. It can be a way to introduce the topic. Maybe we've already talked about going to the doctor in general, and now we're talking about the eye doctor. Perhaps you actually do have a student who is an eye doctor. We've got many students that come to us with these professional backgrounds. So if you do have students with these kind of experience, make use of them for sure. And I'm just going to show you what our vocabulary activity looks like really quickly. You've got the term at the top. Again, you can have your students, if you've still got smart boards, maybe your students can agree on the definition and go up and move it around. And if you don't have a smart board, that's okay. You can still project it, bring out the words, however you've decided to practice them, and then you match them to a definition. I'm totally not doing it correctly. I'm just throwing them in for the sake of time. You can see here that you look at the definition, you click on the box, you add it, and then you can click on I'm finished. And one of the great things here is 0 out of 5, but I get that immediate feedback for sure, which again is a great feature on those kind of lessons. And of course, our AI is giving immediate feedback on other kinds of activities as well. Other kinds of activities in here, again, you can find out more about the different types of digital tasks that we have available. There's a story scramble where the students have already heard the dialogue. Now they've got to come in and organize it. What goes first? What's logically next? What goes, go back and listen. Is this correct? So there's a story scramble. There's also, I'm going to change task. There's also a listen and type activity. And again, you can assign this as homework or yeah, that would probably work best. Assign it as homework to your students. So they would hear the dialogue. The dialogue is right at the bottom. As they hear it, they will type it in the blank, and then they'll be able to see directly how correct were they. And they'll get that immediate feedback, which is so really amazing to get. There are other great features like our the word our reading and sorry, the word has just escaped me, but there are fantastic other features you can see here. Now, one other thing I wanted to add really quickly, I'm going to change the task. Role play. Now, you'll notice that there's a role play activity for you here to do in the classroom. Because we've been talking about AI in this conference, one great way that could make use of ChatGPT is to get ChatGPT to take on the role of the doctor, of the eye doctor. And in class, you can project it onto your screen. And if you've got the voice prompt, the voice plugin added, you would engage the voice prompt. And then you can have your students interact with it directly. And just it would be really interesting to see how many of the expressions and vocabulary items does chat actually use that you've been teaching, and what is new, what is different. So play around with the prompt, get the prompt right, and say, act as an eye doctor. I'm an English language student. Give me feedback on my performance. And chat will take on the role. And when you're done, you can prompt it to say, how did I do? And it will tell you. It'll say, you answered this question correctly, but maybe you should provide more information here and there. So there's one way you might use generative AI creatively in developing these real world life skills. Okay, all right. Oh, I've got to show you some more things in here. So that's our lesson. Those are our lesson sections. Get in here and explore, see what we've got going for us. But I'm going to scroll all the way to the top. I'm going to go back up to our main page at Ellii because I really, really want to show you our study packs and our videos as well. Ben showed you our study packs yesterday in his talk, and I just wanted to come back to the study packs to show you just, how useful and relevant these could be. If you want to see more about how to use it, there's actually a tutorial embedded on this page. You can click on it and open that up. You can also filter again by level, and you can filter by category. In the study packs, we have dialogues, grammar, vocabulary, and topic-based categories. So you can see right now we've got a few in here: medical matters, wheels in motion, home sweet home, some grammar packs, and friends forever, city trekkers, champions of change, lots of different types in here, sweets and treats. This might be useful because, as we all know, ice cream day is coming up in 2 weeks. So maybe you want to talk about food and sweets and treats, however you want to add it. But I'm going to open up, and I'll do sweets and treats. So I'm going to click on the study pack just to show you the kind of content that is in here. This is going to include 5 lessons on this particular topic. You can read more about the objectives, and it outlines, okay, in this particular section, we're going to talk about maple syrup and croissants, ice cream, of course, gum, okay, and cocoa. So it's an interesting collection of lessons that are all approximately on the same topic, which you can then choose as a whole pack and add them into your digital classroom. And all I need to do that is click on Add to Class, exactly the same way that I did to add a lesson. If I drop down, see if you can see it. Yep, same idea. I can drop down and choose the class that I want to add it to, which you don't see, unfortunately. And then you choose where you want it to go. I'm going to put it in prepping. So you're going to see prepping. And then you're going to go ahead and click on save, right? So then you've got the entire lesson pack, which you can go in later on and edit and make certain things available for your students and in that matter. So it's a good place to go. Study packs can be found, again, materials drop-down list, and it is right after lessons, and it's study packs right here. So check it out. We're going to be having new study packs created and added to this list on a regular basis. If you've got ideas for study packs, let us know. hello@ellii.com, I believe is the contact. Let us know if you've got an idea for a study pack, and we'll see what we can do to put those resources together in one place for you to add in one fell swoop to your digital classroom. Okay, study packs. All right, I'm going to go back up to the main page here at Ellii because I definitely want to show you our videos. I know that if you came yesterday, you would have seen the video team talking about our videos, and there's just so many amazing things you could do with videos. Of course, we've got Lee's on here. Lee's has been super busy these last few months creating some amazing content for you and your students. You can see here that we've got 315 videos, lots of different grammar videos, pronunciation, dialogue, vocab, stories, and songs. But I'm going to jump into the newest section in vocabulary because, again, I want to focus in on those life skills really quickly before my time runs out. Again, I could talk about Ellii all day, and I wish I could, but time is a bit of a factor here. You can see here that Lee's is focusing in very specifically on certain areas like fruits and vegetables, feelings, airport, at the bank, the dentist's office, at a restaurant. Great idea, creative idea that I just came up with yesterday after watching Jamie Ketty talk about storytelling. What an amazing performance storytelling was. Perhaps get your students to watch the video and then maybe create a story based on some of these vocabulary items, create role play and dialogue. And it would be interesting to group our students together and see the different kinds of stories they come up with at the airport, or feelings, or shopping. The other thing you can do with these amazing videos is to pair it with another lesson here at Ellii. One of our That's News to Me stories, for example, where you might have them watch the video on feelings and then imagine how you would feel in a certain situation and use the words in that kind of a scenario. So if I open up feelings, and I wanted to show you a little bit more in here. You can see that it's a short video, which is great. It's 4 minutes long. I can add this directly to my class. And if I want to find out more about this particular lesson, it is found in the lesson called Feelings. So I can go into that lesson to get further information and details if I wanted to. And I certainly could, but you can see here that there are 12. Let me see if I can. I'll just pause it right here.
Learn adjectives that describe 12.
So you've learned the adjectives that describe 12 complex feelings in English. And now, like I said, you could pair it with a That's News to Me story. Like, for example, we've just had a story on first day of school in the Ukraine. So maybe your students are reading the story and then they're going to say, imagine that you are that child at school, or you are that person, that teacher. Well, how do you feel in this particular situation? To develop those empathy skills. So not only will they need to choose a word that actually will be relevant and useful, they're going to have to rule out some of the other words. It's a good way to develop the comprehension and things like that. Okay, I know my time is running out, so I'm going to go back into the main page here at Ellii. And like I said, just to close it up, we might have time for a few questions, but so far, I've been able to take you through where some of our new content is living in our collections. For sure, the new content can be found under the month that we're in. September already has a full file of new content. So check that out. Check out the what to teach at Ellii this week. It's another great place. And the Discover page that you see right here, it's got some great ideas. It's updated sometimes a couple times per week as new events and new calendar things are new things that are happening in the world appear. It's going to show up right here. And I've also been focusing on those life skills, those essential skills that our newcomers are going to need in order to be successful. And hopefully I've given you a few creative ways to integrate artificial intelligence in your teaching. Lots of creativity coming out in this conference. I'm going to go back into yes, Lise, I know we're coming up to the end of the session, but are there any questions that I might be able to jump in and give some feedback on?
I don't actually think we've got time for questions, unfortunately, because we've got to draw our prize, but that's okay. As always, Jen is going to be at our presenter table. Please head on over there after this session and you can ask her all of your burning questions about Ellii. So yes, let's draw our winner for this lovely Ellii mug. Okay, so thank you everyone in the audience. Yes, it's a nice mug. I want one myself. All right, here we go. And I'm going to put this on stage. Jen, if you could read the winner out for us.
The winner of this speaker session is Payman B from Saudi Arabia. Congratulations.
Woohoo! Excellent. Okay, we will be in contact with you soon to organize your prize. Excellent. For everyone who didn't win this time, don't worry. There's lots of opportunities to win. As always, check out the link that's in the chat to learn about the different prizes you can win. We've got our leaderboard still going on, so let's publish that. Everyone can see who our current leaders are. And do not forget to join us in the conversation on social media by using our hashtag ElliiCon2023 and tagging us in your post. You may be able to win a 1-year subscription to Ellii just by doing that. So get on social media. Also, take a few minutes to do that event attendee survey if you haven't done it yet. Okay, everyone, it's time for our meet and mingle session. 15 minutes you have in the social lounge. So grab a seat at one of those tables. Like I said, Jen will be at our presenter table. We've also got our two special guests, Anna and Shay from the Teacher Think Aloud podcast. They are still here with us today. Please go there and say hi and learn a little bit more about this incredible resource they have for language teachers. Coming up next, we have Angela Tribu Ramos, and she's going to be leading a session on strategies for engaging your students in meaningful conversation. I'm really looking forward to this final session of the day, and I hope that all of you can stick around for it. It's going to be great. It's going to be interactive. You don't want to miss it. So thanks again, Jen. That was awesome. And we'll see everyone back here in 15 minutes. Ellii.